Hi guys, today we're going to look at 2 Chronicles, chapter 21 verse 4 through chapter 23 to 21. And again, we find two kings here, two kings that were actually brothers. And both of these kings named Jeroham and Ahaziah. Probably butchering that. But both of them were brothers, and both of them actually did evil in the sight of the Lord. So they did their own thing. They did not follow the ways of the Lord. And this would be a time where the people would become very discouraged, of course, because it would almost feel like, oh my gosh, can we not get any good leadership? You know, have you ever had a season like that in your life where it's sort of like, can I get anybody around me that can actually encourage me on and make good decisions so that I can reap the blessing of that? So that's sort of what's happening at the time. And the sad thing is that, well, actually the most powerful thing in here is it does talk about covenant. And it does talk about that even though God knew what they were doing was not right, and it was not holy, and it was not just, due to his covenant with David, he did not wipe them out. That he did have mercy on them. And it's quite sad, actually, because if you read through it, we find that their mother was actually the instigator that taught them how to do wrong. She even encouraged them how to do wrong and therefore lead wrong, and therefore it ended up killing both of them. And it talks about that when her youngest son, he was only 22 years old, came into kingship after his brother died, that he only reigned for a year, and of course he was taken out because he was not doing things that the Lord had asked him to do, and he was opposed to the things of the Lord. And we find where their mother, actually, when she saw him dead, she's like, I'm going to take things in my own hands, and I'm going to wipe out the whole royal, sort of family of Judah. I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to make sure everybody's killed. And there was a line left, and it's interesting when you read through it, you find that God had protected, this one young boy, and actually they hid him for 6 years until he could, come into his own. And you could see the protective care of the Lord in the story where all, hell is breaking loose all around them. There's no good coming out of the leadership. There's no good coming towards the people. And then in the midst of this, God has this amazing plan that preserves the people, and it brings a freedom to the people. And you see where this young boy comes into leadership. He comes into kingship, and they bring him out, and they anoint him in the temple, and they celebrate him. And one of the first things he says is that now we will, as a people, follow the ways of the Lord. And it talks about there is great peace and there is great quiet in the land, which is a theme that we find that when we're walking in obedience with God, when we're doing the things that God has asked us to do, there is a peace that comes. Peace is a byproduct of obedience. And in that, there's like a quiet, there's a rest. Rest is also part of our inheritance that God has given to us. And I think a really good encouragement to take away from this is no matter what's going on around us, is that God always has a plan. Even if it doesn't feel like he has a plan, even if it feels like we're being overcome, even if it feels like we're not going to make it, there's always a plan that God is working on. And in the midst of that, his plans always come to fruition. I think holding on to that and remembering that, and then also knowing that with that comes great joy, comes great peace, and comes great rest.